This title is presented to you by Soundlibra.com. For more audiobooks like this, click the link in the description or visit our website at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to the Attention Span Fix. Everywhere we turn, something demands our attention. Buzzing phones, endless feeds, constant news. It feels like our brains are scattered.
It really does. Before we dive into the details, just a quick heads up that while we're discussing mental focus and well-being, this isn't medical or professional health advice, so always consult with a professional for your specific needs.
That's an important point. This widespread difficulty focusing isn't just an inconvenience. It's the silent epidemic of distraction. It impacts our productivity, relationships, well-being, and ability to enjoy the present moment. When was the last time you read, watched a movie, or had a conversation without your mind wandering or reaching for your phone?
Not as recently as I'd like. It's a constant battle. I start a task, and within minutes, alerts arrive, or I remember something to check online. My brain seems hardwired to jump.
And that's what we'll explore. We have unprecedented information and connection, yet our sustained attention has declined. Every notification, pop-up, and tempting link tugs at our focus. Over time, these wear down our ability to concentrate.
So, if it's so pervasive, how do we get here? What's changed?
Much of it comes down to technology design. Social media platforms are built to be engaging, using systems that deliver unpredictable rewards. You keep checking, hoping to see something interesting. This creates a psychological loop that makes disengaging very difficult.
A perfect analogy. And it's not just social media. Constant information access, pressure to be responsive, the sheer volume of content, all contribute to feeling overwhelmed. Our brains are bombarded, and they adapt by becoming less capable of holding focus.
So, it's not that we're failing, but our environment actively works against our attention.
Precisely. We're in an attention economy where companies compete for our most valuable resource, our attention. They design products to capture it, often at the expense of our well-being. Constant interruption breaks concentration, fragments thoughts, and makes deep work or quiet reflection incredibly difficult.
The consequences of this eroded attention span are far-reaching. It affects learning, creativity, deep connections, and even our ability to simply be present and happy.
Absolutely. Our attention is the gateway to our consciousness. What we attend to shapes our reality, thoughts, and actions. When our attention is hijacked, we lose control. We become reactive, driven by external stimuli rather than our own intentions.
So we've identified the problem, a silent epidemic of distraction fueled by our modern environment. We're going to explore what attention really is and why it's become so elusive.
In the next part, we'll explore the intricate workings of your brain's attention engine. We'll look at the biology and psychology behind why focus is so hard and what it actually means to pay attention. It's like understanding how an engine works before you can fix it, right?
That's the spirit. We'll break down complex ideas into simple, actionable insights. We'll learn about different attention types, how your brain prioritizes information, and why some things grab your attention so easily. Understanding this internal mechanism is crucial for managing distractions.
So, to recap this episode, we've established that distraction is a massive issue in our modern lives, a silent epidemic. It's driven by technology and the constant demand for our attention, negatively impacting almost every aspect of our lives.
That's right. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But the good news is that attention is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained and improved. We just need to understand the fundamentals.
I'm ready to start training.
Great. Join us next time as we dive into understanding your brain's attention engine. Thanks for listening. Next episode, Understanding Your Brain's Attention Engine. back. Last time, we explored the silent epidemic of distraction and why it's such a pervasive problem today. Now, let's dive deeper into what's happening inside our heads.
Absolutely, Alex. It's one thing to feel distracted, but another to grasp the mechanics. So, today we're looking under the hood of our brains, right? We're going to explore the neurological basis of attention.
Precisely. To do that, we need to introduce a key player, the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as the brain's conductor of an orchestra. It's a part of the frontal lobe located right behind your forehead, and it's responsible for what we call executive functions.
Executive functions, that sounds important. What do they actually do?
They're a suite of crucial cognitive abilities. These include planning, decision-making, problem-solving, and crucially for us, self-control and regulating our attention. The prefrontal cortex is what allows us to stay on task, ignore distractions, and manage our impulses. It's like the gatekeeper for your focus.
So, if we're easily distracted, is that a reflection of our prefrontal cortex not doing its job?
In many ways, yes. When we talk about focused attention, we're really talking about a deep, sustained concentration on one specific task or piece of information. It's like shining a powerful spotlight on whatever you're doing. On the other hand, divided attention is what happens when we try to juggle multiple things at once.
So that's the scientific term for what most of us do all day. Trying to listen to a podcast while checking emails and thinking about what's for dinner.
Exactly. And while our brains are capable of switching between tasks, true divided attention, where we're giving equal weight to several things simultaneously, is actually quite inefficient. Our prefrontal cortex, while amazing, has limits on how many active processes it can truly manage effectively at once.
That explains a lot. It feels like I'm doing more, but I'm often less effective. So, why is our brain so naturally drawn to switching and dividing its attention? What's wired within us that makes novelty so appealing?
That's a fantastic question, and it brings us to another fundamental aspect of our brain's wiring. It's highly attuned to novelty and change. Our brains evolved in environments where noticing something new or unexpected could mean the difference between finding food or staying safe. This ancient wiring means our brains are constantly scanning the environment for anything that stands out.
So, a new notification on our phone, a sudden noise, or even just a fleeting thought, these are all signals to our brain that something new is happening.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Your brain has a special alert system. When something changes, the alert goes off and it wants your attention. Normally, this was a survival mechanism. But in our modern world, with constant digital pings and endless streams of information, this alert system is overloaded. It's like having a fire alarm that goes off for every drop pin.
That's a powerful analogy. Our ancient alert system is being triggered by things that aren't real emergencies in a survival sense, but they still hijack our attention because the system is designed to react to novelty.
You've got it. So, the prefrontal cortex, our conductor, tries its best to manage this constant stream of alerts. It's trying to keep the music playing smoothly, focusing on the main melody. That's our intended task. But the constant barrage of new stimuli is like a chaotic chorus of other sounds trying to break in.
It's a battle between our intention and our brain's ingrained predisposition to seek out the new. And that battle often leaves us feeling scattered and unproductive.
Indeed, understanding this basic neurological wiring, the role of the prefrontal cortex, and our brain's inclination towards novelty, is the first crucial step. It's not about blaming ourselves for being distractible, but about understanding the biological mechanisms at play.
So, to recap, our prefrontal cortex, acting as the brain's conductor, manages our executive functions like planning and attention. We have a difference between focused attention, a single spotlight, and divided attention, which is less efficient. And fundamentally, our brains are wired to notice novelty, a useful trait for survival but problematic in our hyper-connected world, constantly triggering our attention alert system.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. This understanding of our brain's attention engine is the bedrock upon which we'll build all the strategies in the following episodes. We now know the why behind our struggles with focus.
It makes sense that we can't improve our focus until we understand how it works and why it often doesn't.
Exactly. Next episode, we're going to dismantle a very common myth, the myth of multitasking. We'll explore why it's not as effective as we think and how it actually undermines our focus.
Looking forward to that. Next episode, the myth of multitasking. Why it hurts your focus.
Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. Last time, we delved into your brain's attention engine. Now we're diving into one of the biggest productivity myths, multitasking.
Yes, multitasking. We often strive for it, bragging about juggling emails, calls, and social media all at once. But Alex, you're saying it's actually a harmful myth?
Absolutely. The idea that we could do multiple complex tasks simultaneously is largely an illusion. We're actually doing task switching. Our brain rapidly flicks between tasks rather than performing them at the same time. Think of a chef trying to stir soup, chop vegetables, and glaze chicken all at once. They might be busy, but the quality of each dish suffers.
So, instead of being more efficient, we're less effective at each task.
Precisely. And there's a significant cognitive cost to this switching. When we shift attention, our brain has to reorient itself, recalling where we left off and engaging with a new task. This context switching takes time and mental energy.
So, even if it feels like we're speeding through our to-do list, we're losing precious time with every switch. It's like running a marathon by sprinting, then stopping to tie your shoe, then sprinting again. You're moving, but not efficiently.
That's a perfect way to put it. And this inefficiency impacts more than just speed. It compromises deep thinking. When we're constantly interrupted or switching tasks, we rarely reach that state of deep concentration, flow, where our best, creative, and analytical work happens. We remain in a more superficial mode of processing.
Right? Because deep work requires sustained focus. If my focus is pulled in different directions, I can't truly grapple with a complex problem or produce original thought.
Exactly. Research shows multitasking leads to increased errors, reduced creativity, and decreased productivity. It also causes stress and overwhelm because our brains work harder for diminishing returns. Remember the brain's attention engine? Multitasking bombards it with competing signals.
So, if I'm trying to write a report while responding to messages and listening to a podcast, my brain is struggling to do any of those things well. It's juggling, but dropping all the balls.
In essence, yes. The more complex the tasks, the more detrimental multitasking is. Try to learn a new skill while managing finances, for instance, would be incredibly difficult as both require significant mental effort.
It makes me think of people in coffee shops with multiple tabs open, music playing, and conversations around them. They might feel productive, but are they truly absorbing or creating?
That's a common scenario, and it highlights the pervasive nature of this myth. We've been conditioned to believe that appearing busy equates to productivity. But true productivity comes from focused effort on meaningful tasks. Multitasking often creates the illusion of productivity, hopping from one shallow engagement to another.
So, the key takeaway is that our brains aren't designed for true multitasking. They're designed for focus, for deep engagement with one thing at a time to process information effectively.
That's right. Embracing this truth is the first step to reclaiming our attention. It means actively choosing to focus on one task, giving it our full cognitive resources, and completing it before moving on. This practice is called single tasking.
Single tasking. It sounds simple, yet revolutionary. So, to recap, multitasking is largely a myth. What we perceive as multitasking is rapid task switching, which has a significant cognitive cost. This leads to reduced efficiency, increased errors, and hinders deep thinking. By understanding this, we can dismantle unproductive habits and build a more focused, productive approach.
Well said, Lisa. The myth of multitasking is powerful, but recognizing its true cost helps us break free and build a stronger attention span.
And that's a fantastic goal. Next episode, Building the Foundation, the Power of Single Tasking.
Welcome back. Last time, we dismantled the myth of multitasking. Now, let's build something better by championing single tasking.
Single tasking.
It sounds simple, but in our connected world, it feels revolutionary. It's like choosing to swim against the constant digital noise.
Precisely. We're conditioned to believe juggling tasks makes us productive, but our brains aren't wired for simultaneous attention. What we call multitasking is rapid task switching, and each switch has a cognitive cost.
That cost being lost time, increased errors, and feeling overwhelmed. So, for listeners struggling to break free from multitasking, what are the first practical steps to champion single tasking?
The first step is awareness. Become detectives of your own behavior. Notice when you're tempted to switch tasks. Is it a notification? A stray thought? Just observe these moments without judgment.
So, it's about recognizing the impulse before acting on it, like feeling an itch and deciding not to scratch it.
That's a great analogy. Once aware, intentionally choose one task. Start small. Pick a task that takes 5 to 10 minutes. Reply to one email, make a quick call, or read a single article.
We're not asking for hours of deep work right away, but building up with these mini single tasking sessions.
Exactly. It's about building the habit, building the muscle. Think of training for a marathon. You start with short distances. Single tasking is the same. Each completed session reinforces that neural pathway.
What do we do if, during that short task, a distracting thought or urge arises?
Introduce gentle redirection. Acknowledge the distraction and the urge. If it feels urgent, jot it down on a nearby piece of paper. Then, gently bring your attention back to the task. The key is gently. We're not fighting distractions. We're choosing to disengage and re-engage.
So, if I'm writing an email and remember I need milk, I could jot "buy milk" and then refocus on the email.
Perfect. Jotting it down acknowledges the thought, assures your brain it won't be forgotten, and frees up your mental energy to return to the email. It processes the distraction without derailing you.
This feels more achievable than striving for perfect focus immediately. What about creating an environment that supports single tasking, given how much the world distracts us?
Creating an attention-friendly environment is crucial. This can be as simple as closing unnecessary computer tabs. If you're working on a document, don't have email and social media open. Turn off phone notifications or put it in another room or on airplane mode.
So, consciously curate your surroundings to minimize external temptations. It's like building a little focus bubble.
That's a perfect way to put it. And when in that bubble, resist the urge to just quickly check something else. That small deviation can lead to a rabbit hole of other distractions. Stick to your plan for that time block.
Many of us fall into the trap of thinking, I'll just check this one thing. It'll only take a minute. But those minutes add up, and the mental effort to return to the original task is significant.
Correct. Each switch means essentially restarting your mental engine for that original task. This drains cognitive resources. By committing to single tasking, even briefly, you allow your brain to achieve a state of flow where you're fully immersed and efficient.
So, to recap, single tasking power comes from awareness of habits, starting small with brief focus sessions, gently redirecting distractions, and curating a supportive environment. It's about building a foundation of focused work, one task at a time.
That's right. As you practice, those 5-minute sessions can naturally extend. You'll build confidence and resilience. Even 1 or 2 successful periods a day is progress. Aim for consistent effort, not perfection.
It's about retraining our brains to embrace doing one thing well, rather than superficially touching many. This habit builds the groundwork for deeper focus techniques coming up.
Exactly. We're creating fertile ground for more advanced focus strategies. So, for this week, try to incorporate just a few conscious moments of single tasking. Notice the difference.
It's a practice, not a quick fix. It's empowering to realize we can consciously choose where our attention goes.
Absolutely. Next episode, we'll tackle a challenge that derails single tasking, the boredom barrier. We'll explore why we avoid discomfort and how embracing boredom can be a superpower for focus. Next episode, the boredom barrier, embracing the uncomfortable. Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. Last time, we solidified the power of single tasking. Today, we're diving into a concept that many of us actively avoid, yet it's absolutely crucial for building a stronger attention span: the boredom barrier.
The boredom barrier. Even saying it feels a little uncomfortable. We live in a world of constant beeps, notifications, and endless scrolling. It feels like boredom is the enemy, doesn't it?
Exactly, Lisa. And that discomfort is precisely why it's such a powerful obstacle. We've trained ourselves to seek out constant novelty and stimulation. The moment things get quiet, the moment our minds aren't being fed something new and exciting, we feel an urge to reach for our phones, to switch tasks, anything to escape that feeling of, well, boredom.
So, avoidance of boredom is actually causing our attention spans to shrink? That's a bit of a paradox.
It is. Think of it like a muscle. If you never challenge a muscle, it weakens. Our attention muscle is constantly being told it's too weak to handle stillness, too weak to handle a lack of external input. So what do? We reinforce that idea by always providing that input. We seek out distractions because we've learned to associate quietude with unpleasantness.
I can definitely relate to that. That little pang of, oh no, what am I supposed to be doing when I'm just sitting still for a moment? It's like an itch I have to scratch immediately.
That's the boredom barrier in action. And here's the key insight: that discomfort, that urge to escape, is actually a sign that we're bumping up against our current attention limits. When we push through it, even for a short while, we begin to expand those limits. We're teaching our brains that stillness isn't a threat, but an opportunity.
An opportunity for what, though? If I'm just sitting here, feeling bored, what am I gaining by not reaching for my phone?
You're gaining mental space. You're creating room for your own thoughts to surface, for your mind to wander productively, and for deeper processing to occur. This is where creativity often sparks, where solutions to problems can emerge. When we're constantly consuming external stimuli, we leave no space for internal creation.
So, boredom isn't empty time. It's actually fertile ground?
Precisely. And the more we embrace it, the more we build what I call boredom tolerance. This is the ability to sit with discomfort, with a lack of immediate external reward, and to remain engaged with a task, or even just with yourself. This is foundational for deep work, as deep work often requires sustained focus on something that isn't inherently thrilling every single second.
Okay, so how do we start building this tolerance? It feels like a big leap from actively avoiding boredom to embracing it.
We start small. The first step is simply becoming aware of the urge to escape boredom. The next time you feel that familiar discomfort creeping in, pause. Just notice it. Don't immediately act on it. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now?
Just noticing the feeling, without trying to fix it? That sounds surprisingly difficult.
It is at first. It requires conscious effort. Imagine you're observing a weather pattern. You see the clouds gathering, you feel the wind pick up, but you don't have to immediately run inside. You can simply observe it. Similarly, you can observe the feeling of boredom. You can acknowledge, there it is. I'm feeling bored.
So, awareness is the first building block. What's next in building this boredom tolerance?
Next, we introduce brief, intentional moments of low stimulation activity. This isn't about forcing yourself into hours of stark silence. It's about weaving in small pockets of time where you intentionally reduce external input. Think of it as a gentle workout for your attention muscle.
Can you give us some examples of those low stimulation activities?
Absolutely. One simple way is to intentionally delay checking your phone. You finish a task, and instead of immediately grabbing your device, you simply sit for 30 seconds or a minute. Look out the window. Or, when you're commuting, try leaving your headphones off for a portion of the journey. Just observe the sounds around you, the sights.
So, it's about resisting the immediate impulse to fill every single momentary gap with external stimulation.
Exactly. Another exercise is what I call mindful waiting. The next time you're in a queue or waiting for a web page to load, resist the urge to pull out your phone. Instead, just be present. Notice your surroundings, or simply focus on your breath for a few moments.
That sounds like a really practical way to start. It's not a huge commitment, but it's a conscious choice to not distract yourself.
And the key is consistency. Even a few of these moments each day can begin to retrain your brain. You're actively demonstrating to yourself that you can handle a lack of constant external input. You're showing your brain that it can be okay and even productive to just be.
So, to recap for our listeners, we've established that our modern environment has made us actively avoid boredom, which paradoxically weakens our attention span. This avoidance leads us to seek constant stimulation. The solution is to build boredom tolerance by first increasing our awareness of the urge to escape boredom and then introducing small, intentional moments of low stimulation activity.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. By embracing the discomfort of boredom, we're not just enduring it, we're learning to leverage it. This practice is a direct pathway to greater focus, reduced impulsivity, and ultimately, the ability to engage in deeper, more meaningful work. It's about reclaiming your inner quiet.
It's fascinating to think that something we've been taught to dislike could be such a powerful tool for improving our focus.
It challenges our assumptions, doesn't it? And that's exactly what we need to do to fix our attention spans. Next episode, Cultivating Calm, Introduction to Mindfulness and Meditation.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back. Last time we covered the boredom barrier. Now let's tackle cultivating calm.
That's right, Alex. It's all about training ourselves to resist the immediate urge for distraction and to sit with a task, even if it feels a little dull at first.
Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into today's topic, which is all about cultivating a sense of calm within ourselves. We're going to introduce the foundational practices of mindfulness and meditation and how they can dramatically improve your ability to focus.
Mindfulness and meditation. Those terms can sound a bit intimidating to some people, can't they? Like you have to be a guru sitting on a mountaintop for hours.
That's a common misconception, Lisa, and one we're going to bust wide open today. Think of mindfulness and meditation not as end goals, but as very practical skills. They are essentially training for your brain, helping you build a stronger, more resilient attention span.
Training for the brain. I like that. So, what exactly are we training it to do?
At its core, we're training our brains to be more present. In today's world, our minds are constantly flitting from one thought to the next, or jumping to anticipated future events, or replaying past conversations. This is the opposite of focus.
It's like a restless puppy, always chasing its tail or sniffing out new distractions.
A perfect analogy. Mindfulness essentially means paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing what's happening right now, both internally and externally.
So, it's not about clearing your mind completely, which I've always thought was the point of meditation.
That's another myth. Your mind will wander. The practice isn't about preventing thoughts, but about noticing when your mind has wandered and gently, kindly bringing it back. Every time you notice your mind has drifted, and guide it back to your chosen focus point, perhaps your breath or a sensation, you are strengthening your attention muscle.
Ah, so it's about the returning part. That's key. It's like doing reps at the gym for your attention.
Precisely. And meditation is a more formal practice of cultivating that mindful state. We often start with focusing on the breath. It's a readily available anchor to the present moment.
The breath? How does simply breathing help with focus?
Think about it. Your breath is always happening right now. It's a constant rhythmic anchor. When you focus on the sensation of your breath, the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen, the air moving in and out of your nostrils, you're giving your mind something concrete to hold on to. When thoughts inevitably arise, often unrelated to your breath, you simply notice them, acknowledge they're just thoughts, and then gently return your attention to your breath.
So, I just sit, close my eyes, and pay attention to my breath. And when my mind drifts to my grocery list or that email I need to send, I just let it go and come back to the breath.
That's the essence of it. It's a practice of gentle redirection. You're not fighting your thoughts. You're observing them and choosing what to focus on. This repeated act of noticing and returning builds your ability to control where your attention goes, extending beyond your meditation practice into your daily life.
And how long would someone need to meditate for this to start having an effect? Because again, people might be thinking they need to commit to an hour a day.
Not at all. For beginners, even 5 minutes a day can be incredibly beneficial. The goal is consistency, not duration. You can start with literally 2 to 3 minutes. Find a quiet place, sit comfortably, and just focus on your breath. Notice the sensation, and when your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That's it.
So, a very short, consistent practice. That feels much more achievable. What about mindfulness in everyday activities? Is that related?
Absolutely. Mindfulness is about bringing that same present moment awareness to everything you do. It's about engaging fully with whatever you're experiencing. For example, when you're eating, actually taste your food. Notice the textures, the flavors, the smells. When you're walking, feel your feet on the ground. Notice the scenery.
So, when we're washing dishes, instead of letting our minds race ahead to what we need to do next, we can focus on the feel of the warm water, the soap, the sensation of cleaning.
Exactly. And importantly, without judging the experience as boring or needing to rush through it. You're fully present with the dishwashing. This practice, even for a few minutes at a time, trains your brain to stay engaged with the present task, which is a direct countermeasure to distraction.
It's like retraining your brain's default setting. Instead of defaulting to distraction or to-do lists, it can learn to default to simply being present with whatever is happening.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. And remember our discussion on boredom? Mindfulness and meditation make that boredom barrier much more surmountable because you're learning to be more comfortable with stillness in the present moment rather than immediately seeking external stimulation.
So, to recap, mindfulness is about paying deliberate, non-judgmental attention to the present moment. Meditation is a formal practice to build that skill, often using the breath as an anchor. And the key is noticing when your mind wanders and gently returning your focus. Even a few minutes a day can start to rebuild your attention muscle.
You've got it. These practices feel simple, but their impact on your ability to focus is profound. They help quiet the internal noise and strengthen your capacity for sustained attention. They are foundational tools for anyone looking to reclaim their focus in a noisy world.
It's about cultivating an inner calm that allows our outward focus to sharpen. I'm excited to try this out.
Next episode, deep dive into reading, strategies for focused comprehension. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. Last time, we explored mindfulness and meditation. Now, let's dive into reading with deep focus.
Reading feels fundamental, but it's so easy for our minds to wander with digital distractions. It's like trying to read while notifications pop up every few seconds.
Exactly, Lisa. We need to approach reading deliberately. It's not just about words. It's a powerful tool for training attention. Think of reading as a workout for your brain's focus muscle. Longer text can be a great workout.
A workout for the brain. So, instead of just skimming, we need to actively engage. What are some strategies for focused reading?
First, preparation. Before you read, set a clear intention and goal. What do you want to get out of it? Are you reading for pleasure, information, or to learn skill? Knowing your purpose directs your focus.
So, not just I'm going to read for an hour, but maybe I want to understand the main arguments of this chapter.
Precisely. Then, we implement active reading. This means interacting with the text. One simple technique is to ask questions as you read.
Questions like what?
Ask yourself, what is the main point the author is making? Or how does this relate to what I know? Or what do I think will happen next? This keeps your brain present and processing information deeply. Another strategy is taking notes. This can be as simple as highlighting key sentences, jotting down summary words in the margin, or noting questions.
Like underlining important parts?
Yes, but think of it as building a roadmap. Jotting keywords or brief summaries creates mental anchors for recall. The physical act of marking also reinforces information. So, active reading involves asking questions and taking notes.
Okay, active reading, setting goals, asking questions, and taking notes. How do we minimize external distractions, though?
This ties back to creating a distraction-free environment for work. Find a quiet space where you're less likely to be interrupted. Turn off notifications or put your phone in another room. Dedicate specific times solely for reading.
So, if I plan to read, I should intentionally put my phone on silent and out of sight.
Exactly. Also use time boxing. Set a timer for your reading session, perhaps 25 minutes, a technique often called a Pomodoro session. Then take a short break. This makes longer reading sessions less daunting.
A 25-minute focused reading burst followed by a short break seems manageable.
Absolutely. During breaks, stand up, stretch, or get water. Avoid using breaks for social media. The goal is a short, mindful interval before returning to reading. To recap, focused reading. First, set a clear purpose and goal. Second, practice active reading with questions and notes. Third, minimize external distractions. Fourth, use time boxing to structure your reading time. These strategies turn reading into an intentional focus-building exercise.
It's fascinating how applying deliberate techniques to reading can impact our attention. It really is like flexing that focus muscle. Longer form reading, like books, trains our ability to sustain attention for extended periods.
Is indeed a powerful way to build resilience against distraction. By engaging with texts, we're not just absorbing information, we're training our minds to stay present.
So, we've learned how to prepare for reading, engage actively, and create a focused reading environment. Longer reading also helps build sustained attention.
That's a great summary, Lisa. We've made significant progress in understanding how to reclaim our attention. Next time, we'll discuss designing your physical space to be more conducive to focus, transforming your surroundings into an attention-friendly sanctuary. Next episode, designing your sanctuary, creating an attention-friendly environment. Welcome back. Last time, we dove deep into the art of focused reading. Now, let's tackle designing your sanctuary, creating an environment that supports your attention.
Designing your sanctuary, I love that. Because for so long, I've just accepted my environment and wondered why my focus is scattered. It's like trying to swim upstream in a river of distractions.
Exactly. The first and most impactful step is addressing your physical workspace. What's the first thing you see when you sit down to work? A clear desk or a chaotic landscape?
Right now, a bit of chaos. Sticky notes, mail, a half-finished puzzle. It's visual noise.
And that visual noise drains your cognitive resources. Your brain is constantly scanning and trying to make sense of it all. Even if you don't consciously register it, it's taking up precious mental bandwidth. The first actionable step is decluttering. Adopt the everything has a place mantra.
Everything has a place. That sounds simple, but it requires actually creating those places.
Precisely. It's about intentionality. Designate specific spots for your essential tools. For anything that doesn't serve your current focus, remove it from your immediate field of vision. The goal is to create a calm, uncluttered visual field. Imagine your desk as a blank canvas.
So, it's not just about tidiness, but actively removing potential distractions before they grab our attention.
Absolutely. And this extends beyond your desk. Is your workspace near a busy street? Is in a high-traffic area? Consider rearranging your setup to minimize visual and auditory distractions. Sometimes, even a simple change of facing your desk in a different direction can make a significant difference.
That's a good point. I've never really thought about the direction I'm facing. And speaking of auditory distractions, what about background noise?
That's a personal preference, and it ties into our discussions about deep work. For some, ambient music helps. For others, silence is golden. Experiment to find what works for you. If you need to block out external noise, consider noise-canceling headphones. They can create a personal bubble of focus.
So, we've talked about the physical space, decluttering, and managing sound. What about the digital environment? That feels like an even bigger battleground for our attention.
You've hit the nail on the head. Our digital spaces are often the biggest culprits. Notifications, social media feeds, endless email, they're all designed to pull us away. The first line of defense here is managing notifications.
Oh, the dreaded notification ping. It's like an involuntary reflex to check.
It's a learned behavior, and we can unlearn it. On your computer and phone, disable non-essential notifications. For social media, email, news, ask yourself, do I truly need to be alerted to this immediately? If the answer is no, turn off the notification badge, the sound, and the banner alerts.
So, batching our digital engagement, checking email at specific times, not every time a notification pops up.
Exactly. And that leads to setting clear boundaries. Communicate your focused work times to colleagues, family, or housemates. Let them know that when you're in focus mode, you'll be less available for interruptions.
That sounds like it requires courage, setting those boundaries.
It does, but it's an investment in your productivity and well-being. Think of it this way. Each time you resist an interruption, you strengthen your attention muscle. Besides notifications, consider dedicated, distraction-free apps or browser extensions that can temporarily block access to time-wasting websites.
I've seen those. It's like putting guardrails up for your digital self.
Precisely. And remember, this isn't about eliminating all potential distractions. It's about consciously curating your environment and becoming more aware of what pulls you away. It's about making it easier to focus and harder to get sidetracked. Designing your environment is a crucial support system for single tasking.
So, to recap, we're decluttering our physical workspace to reduce visual noise. We're managing our auditory environment. And on the digital front, we're disabling non-essential notifications, setting clear boundaries, and using tools to block distracting websites. It's all about making our surroundings work for our concentration.
You've got it. By proactively shaping our physical and digital sanctuaries, we're not just reducing distractions, we're actively cultivating an environment that nurtures deep focus. It's a tangible way to support the mental habits we've been building.
It feels empowering to know that the space around us can be such a powerful ally.
Indeed. And in our next episode, we'll be diving into the art of the deep work session itself. How do you structure your time and tasks to maximize that focused energy? Next episode, the art of the deep work session. Welcome back. Last time, we explored how to design a physical environment that shields us from distractions. Now, we're ready to dive into a powerful practice that builds directly on that foundation, the art of the deep work session.
Deep work. It sounds so intense, like diving into the abyss.
It can feel that way at first, Lisa, but it's really about dedicating focused, uninterrupted time to cognitively demanding tasks. Think of it as deliberate, high-quality work that pushes your abilities and creates new value. It's the opposite of shallow work, which is those quick, logistical tasks that don't really stretch our minds.
So, shallow work would be answering emails or scheduling meetings, while deep work is writing that complex report or developing a new strategy.
Exactly. And Cal Newport, who popularized the term, emphasizes that deep work is becoming increasingly rare. In our constantly connected world, we're often pulled in 100 directions, making sustained focus a superpower. Today, we'll explore how to intentionally cultivate and execute these deep work sessions.
That makes sense. If we've spent episodes learning to minimize external distractions and focus on single tasks, then dedicating blocks of time for that focused work seems like the natural next step.
Precisely. The first step is recognizing the value of scheduling these sessions. Just like you'd schedule a crucial meeting, you need to schedule your deep work. Don't just hope it happens, make it happen. This means blocking out specific times in your calendar. Some people prefer mornings when their energy is highest, while others find evenings work better. Find your peak productivity window.
So, instead of saying, I'll get to that report later, you'd say, from 9 to 11 a.m., I am in deep work mode for the report.
That's the spirit. And remember our discussion about creating your sanctuary? This is where it pays off. Before you begin a deep work session, ensure your environment is optimized. Close unnecessary tabs on your computer. Put your phone on silent and out of sight. Let others know you are unavailable for a specific period. This deliberate preparation signals to your brain that it's time to focus.
It's like setting the stage for really concentrating. What about the task itself? How do you ensure you're actually doing deep work and not just staring at a blank page?
That's where task selection and breaking down complexity comes in. Choose one specific task for your deep work session. Trying to tackle multiple complex items at once will dilute your focus. And if the task feels overwhelming, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. For example, if you have to write a chapter, your deep work session might be focused solely on outlining the key points or writing the introduction.
Oh, that's a great way to make it less intimidating. So, the goal isn't necessarily to finish the entire project in one session, but to make significant, focused progress on a specific part of it.
Absolutely. And here's a crucial element. Embrace the boredom barrier. Remember episode 5? Initially, you might feel restless or tempted to switch tasks. This is where your focus muscle gets tested. Resist the urge to check your notifications or switch to something easier. The longer you can endure that discomfort and stay with the challenging task, the stronger your concentration becomes.
That discomfort is where the growth happens, right? So, you're sitting there, focused on your task, and suddenly you think of something you forgot to do earlier. What then?
Great question. This is where a simple notepad or a digital note-taking tool you can access after your session becomes your best friend. Keep it handy to quickly jot down those distracting thoughts, the errands, the other immediate tasks, the random ideas. Then, Immediately return to your deep work. This captures the thought without derailing your current focus. Think of it as a temporary holding pen for your wandering mind.
A holding pen. I like that. It's not about ignoring the thoughts, but managing them so they don't hijack your session.
Exactly. And this brings us to deliberate practice. Deep work isn't just about showing up. It's about continually refining how you work. After each deep work session, take a moment to reflect. What went well? What were the biggest distractions? Could you have prepared better? This self-assessment helps you improve your approach for the next session.
So, it's a cycle of intending, executing, and reflecting. How long should these sessions be? Is there an ideal duration?
The ideal duration varies. For beginners, starting with 45 to 60 minutes might be realistic. As your focus muscle strengthens, you can gradually increase this to 90 minutes or longer. The key is consistency and quality over quantity. A highly focused 60 minutes is far more productive than 3 hours of distracted work.
It's about the intensity of the focus, not just the clock time. So, to recap our deep work session today, we've learned that deep work is dedicated, uninterrupted time for cognitively demanding tasks. It requires intentional scheduling, an optimized environment, and careful task selection. We also touched on embracing discomfort, using a holding pen for distracting thoughts, and the importance of deliberate practice through reflection.
You've got it. And remember, building this skill takes time. Don't get discouraged if your first few sessions aren't perfect. Every attempt is a step forward in reclaiming your ability to focus deeply.
It's empowering to know we can intentionally train this ability.
Absolutely. Next episode, we'll tackle the next level of focus challenges, gradually increasing your focus muscle with progressive challenges.
Sounds like we're really going to build some serious staying power.
That's the plan. See you next time. Welcome back. Last time we discussed the art of deep work. Now let's build your focus muscle.
That's such a great analogy, Alex. Because honestly, for a long time, I felt like my attention span was just fixed, like it was a limited resource I was born with. But the idea of progressively challenging it, like building physical strength, makes so much sense.
Exactly. It's all about progressive overload for your brain. Just like a weightlifter increases the weight, reps, or sets over time, we can gradually increase the duration and intensity of our focused work sessions. This is the core of building a stronger, more resilient attention span. It's not about enduring pain. It's about strategic, incremental growth.
So, how do we actually do this? Where do we start? Because I can imagine trying to go from hyper-focused for 5 minutes to trying to concentrate for an hour straight would be a recipe for disaster.
You hit the nail on the head, Lisa. The key is starting where you are and then gently pushing your boundaries. Let's say you've been practicing single tasking and can comfortably focus for perhaps 15 to 20 minutes. That's your baseline. Your first progressive challenge would be to extend that by just a few minutes, maybe to 25 minutes. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to extend the successful focus time.
Okay, so if 20 minutes is my comfortable zone, I aim for 25 minutes of uninterrupted focus. And then what? Do I just keep adding 5 minutes every day?
That's one approach. Another is to not just increase the duration, but also the intensity of the focus. This means tackling tasks that require deeper cognitive engagement. Remember when we talked about deep work? This is where you start applying those principles more rigorously. So, instead of just reading an article, you might try analyzing it, taking notes, and forming opinions.
So it's not just about sitting there for longer, but about engaging more deeply with the task at hand for that extended period. That's important. It sounds like it's about quality of focus during those longer stretches.
Precisely. And it's crucial to listen to your body and your brain. If you attempt a challenging session and find yourself completely unable to focus, getting agitated, or making constant errors, that's a sign you might have pushed too hard, too fast. In that case, it's better to scale back to a duration or intensity you can manage successfully. It's about building momentum, not crushing yourself.
That's a really good point. Avoiding burnout is key to making this a sustainable habit. So, we start by slightly increasing our current focus duration, and then we might also try to increase the cognitive demand of our tasks during that focus time.
Exactly. And we can introduce another element, strategic breaks. While the goal is sustained focus, sometimes short, intentional breaks can actually help you push your limits further. Think of it like a runner taking a sip of water during a long race. For focus sessions, these breaks should be very brief, perhaps 30 seconds to a minute, where you simply close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, or stretch. The key is that these breaks are not distractions. They are short respites to help you return to your task with renewed focus.
So, instead of checking social media or getting up to make another cup of coffee, these are purely for mental recalibration. Just a quick reset before diving back in.
Right? Now, let's talk about setting these challenges. You can set yourself daily goals, weekly goals, or even just challenge yourself for a specific task. For example, you might decide, for this next project report, I will dedicate 3 consecutive 45-minute deep work sessions with only short breath breaks in between. This gives you a clear target and a structured approach.
I like that. Having a clear objective makes it feel more achievable. And I can see how tracking your progress would be very motivating. Knowing that you successfully completed a 30-minute focus block when you used to struggle with 15 minutes is powerful.
Absolutely, Lisa. Tracking is vital. You can use a simple notebook, a spreadsheet, or even an app. Note down the duration of your focus sessions, the type of task, and how you felt during and after. This data helps you see your progress and identify any patterns, like what types of tasks are easiest to focus on for longer periods.
So, to recap this idea of progressive challenges for our attention muscle, we're building on our current ability, gradually increasing the duration of our focus blocks. We're also potentially increasing the intensity of the work during those blocks, making them more cognitively demanding. And we're using brief, strategic breaks to help us maintain that endurance, all while tracking our progress to stay motivated.
You've got it. And remember, this isn't a race. It's about building sustainable focus. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly normal. The important thing is to keep showing up and to keep gently pushing yourself. Think back to the analogy of physical fitness. Consistency is far more important than one heroic effort. Each small, extended focus session is like another rep, another step, building that incredible mental endurance.
It really does transform it from a chore into a process of growth. And that makes taking on more challenging tasks feel less daunting.
It does. As you become more adept at longer focus sessions, you'll find that tasks you once avoided because they seemed too demanding now feel manageable. This progressive challenging is the engine of sustained improvement. It's how we move from merely managing distractions to actively cultivating deep, unwavering concentration.
This is incredibly practical and empowering advice, Alex. It gives us actionable steps to truly strengthen our focus.
And that's what we're all about. Next episode, we'll turn our attention to the internal landscape. We'll explore how to overcome those pesky thoughts and emotions that often derail our focus, even when our environment is perfect.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep challenging yourselves, and remember, your attention is a muscle, and it's ready to be strengthened. Welcome back. Last time, we explored designing your physical environment for better focus.
The internal chatter. It feels like that never-ending to-do list, or a worry that just loops in your head. even when you're trying to concentrate on something else entirely.
Exactly. We spend a lot of time on external distractions, notifications, noisy colleagues, clutter. But what about when the biggest obstacle is that voice in your own head? Those wandering thoughts, anxieties, or even perfectionism can derail us just as easily.
So, how do we even begin to manage something so intangible as a thought or an emotion? It's not like we can just switch it off.
You're right, we can't switch them off, but we can learn to observe them without getting swept away. Remember when we introduced mindfulness and meditation back in episode 6? This is where those skills really come into play. The core idea is learning to acknowledge your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Right.
Instead of fighting the thought, you notice it, almost like watching a cloud drift across the sky.
Precisely. Think of your mind like a busy train station. Thoughts and emotions are like trains arriving and departing. You don't have to jump on every single train, but you can watch them come and go. The first step is simply noticing. When you realize your mind has wandered, and it will wander, gently acknowledge it. Ah, there's a thought about that email, or I'm feeling anxious about that upcoming meeting.
So, the goal isn't to stop thinking, but to stop being controlled by the thoughts.
Absolutely. That's the key distinction. When a distracting thought arises, instead of immediately acting on it or letting it spiral, practice what's called thought labeling. You can mentally say, planning, worrying, recalling, or even just thought. This creates a small space between you and the thought, giving you a moment to choose how to respond.
That sounds like it takes a lot of practice. I imagine my mind would just keep pulling me back into the content of the thought.
It absolutely does. And that brings us to another internal hurdle, rumination. This is when we get stuck replaying events or conversations or endlessly worrying about future possibilities. It's like a mental hamster wheel, and it's a huge drain on our attention.
Oh, I know that will all too well. How do you get off it?
One effective technique is called thought stopping, but not in the forceful way you might think. It's more about redirection. When you catch yourself ruminating, you can mentally say stop and then immediately redirect your attention to something neutral but engaging. This could be focusing on your breath for a few moments or even describing the objects around you in detail. This isn't about denying the thought, but about interrupting the repetitive cycle and bringing yourself back to the present moment.
So, it's like a quick mental reset button.
Exactly. And another common internal distraction is perfectionism. The desire to do something perfectly can often lead to procrastination or second-guessing ourselves so much that we lose momentum. We might get stuck tweaking the first sentence of an email for an hour, for example.
That paralysis by analysis I've heard about.
That's it. To combat this, we can practice what's called good enough. Recognize that done is often better than perfect. Set realistic expectations and focus on progress, not just the final outcome. Celebrate small victories and acknowledge that mistakes are part of the learning process. This helps reduce the pressure and allows you to move forward.
This connects back to what we talked about with single tasking, right? Focusing on completing one specific part of a task rather than getting overwhelmed by the ideal final product.
A very good point. And all these internal distractions, wandering thoughts, rumination, perfectionism, are often amplified by our emotional state. If we're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, our minds are much more likely to jump around. Building on our mindfulness practice, we can also learn to acknowledge and accept our emotions. Instead of trying to push away anxiety, we can acknowledge it. I'm feeling anxious right now. This act of acceptance can actually reduce the intensity of the emotion.
It's counterintuitive, but it makes sense. Fighting it seems to give it more power.
It does. And once you've acknowledged the emotion, you can then use techniques like deep breathing or a brief body scan. Just noticing the physical sensations associated with the emotion without judgment to help regulate your nervous system. This creates a calmer internal landscape, making it easier to focus.
So, to recap, we have a few powerful tools for battling internal distractions. First, simply noticing and labeling our thoughts without judgment.
Yes, creating that space. Second, interrupting rumination with thought stopping and redirection to a neutral focus.
And third, managing perfectionism by embracing the good enough mentality and focusing on progress.
Exactly. And underpinning all of this is the ability to acknowledge and accept our emotions, using mindfulness techniques to regulate them. These aren't quick fixes, but rather ongoing practices that build your mental resilience over time. By consistently applying these strategies, you're strengthening your ability to manage the internal noise and redirect your attention back to what matters.
It's like building a muscle. The more you practice noticing and redirecting, the stronger your focus becomes, even when your own mind tries to pull you away.
That's a perfect analogy. We're training our minds to be our allies, not our saboteurs.
This connects to our next topic as well. Next episode, we'll explore how crucial sleep and physical well being truly are in sustaining our focus long term.
Great, because you can have all the mental techniques in the world, but if you're exhausted or not feeling physically well, your attention will naturally suffer. See you then. Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. Today we're talking about fundamental well-being.
That's right, Alex. Our bodies absolutely impact our minds. You need energy to focus.
Exactly. Your brain is like a high-performance engine. It needs fuel, maintenance, and rest. Key areas are sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Let's start with sleep.
Sleep is often the first thing we sacrifice, isn't it?
It is, and it's a mistake. During sleep, your brain is active consolidating memories and repairing itself. Without enough quality sleep, your attention, decision-making, and emotional regulation suffer.
So, lack of sleep directly hurts my concentration?
Absolutely. Poor sleep can impair attention as much as alcohol. It's like trying to run a marathon with a sprained ankle. Ineffective.
That's powerful. How much sleep do we need?
7 to 9 hours for most adults. Quality matters too. A consistent schedule, a dark, cool room, and avoiding screens before bed. Consistency regulates your internal body clock.
Disrupting that rhythm is like confusing an orchestra conductor.
Perfectly put. Next is nutrition. What you eat fuels your brain. Junk food and sugar won't provide peak performance.
I definitely feel that sugar crash.
For optimal brain function, eat whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, fruits, vegetables, and complex carbs. These provide nutrients for effective brain communication.
And hydration? I feel foggy without enough water.
Crucially important, dehydration causes fatigue, headaches, and reduced concentration. Water is essential for cognitive processes. Sip water throughout the day.
Sleep and nutrition covered. How does exercise tie into attention?
Physical activity is brain boosting. Exercise increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients. It stimulates brain cell growth and improves connections. Endorphins also reduce stress, which hinders focus.
So, even a walk helps?
Yes, regular moderate exercise like walking, jogging, or swimming offers significant benefits. Aim for 150 minutes weekly. Movement breaks during the day also refresh your mind.
It's all so interconnected. Getting these three right could make other focus challenges easier.
Precisely. We've built strategies, but they're more effective with a healthy body and mind. It's the foundation for your focus house.
To summarize, 7 to 9 hours of consistent quality sleep is vital for brain repair. Balanced nutrition and hydration provide brain energy. Regular exercise boosts blood flow and reduces stress, enhancing concentration.
You've got it. Prioritizing physical well-being is essential for a sharp, focused mind. It creates an environment for your brain to perform its best.
It really ties everything together practically.
Thank you, Alex.
My pleasure, Lisa. That covers the role of sleep and well-being in your attention span. Next episode, we'll discuss weaving these elements into sustainable long-term habits.
Until then, listeners, take care of yourselves.
Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. We're diving deep into making our progress stick.
It's all about building sustainable habits for a sharp focus.
Exactly. Focus is a continuous practice, like training a muscle for strength. It needs regular exercise.
So, what's the first key to long-term focus maintenance?
Consistency. Make single tasking your default. Gently redirect yourself back to one thing when you slip into multitasking. Every choice to focus strengthens your attention.
So, single tasking becomes the path of least resistance?
Precisely. This ties into habit formation. Turn effective strategies into automatic behaviors. Intention-setting rituals, deep work blocks, short mindfulness breaks. The more you do it, the easier it gets. We also need regular review. Like an athlete reviewing performance, check your focus strategies. Are they still working? Are new distractions creeping in? Life changes, so strategies might need to adapt.
It's not a set and forget it thing. Tell us more about intention-setting rituals.
Before starting a task, set a clear intention. Ask, what is the main goal? And how do I want to approach it? For example, reading a report with the intention to understand key findings and approach it without checking your phone. This primes your brain.
That's much more effective than just diving in. It's a clear mental starting line.
Exactly. Support this by proactively managing your environment. Remember episode 8, Designing Your Sanctuary? Maintain that distraction-free zone. Regularly clear your workspace, manage notifications, and communicate your focus needs. Create a supportive ecosystem for your attention.
So, it's about continuously tending to your focus garden.
A perfect analogy. And what about motivation when initial excitement fades? Understand your why. Reconnect with your deeper purpose, career, meaningful downtime, stress reduction. This reignites motivation. Celebrating small wins also reinforces positive behavior.
And normalize when focus is harder. Not every day is peak concentration mode, and that's okay.
You're right. Build resilience. Life throws curveballs. On tough days, practice self-compassion and adapt. Your goal might be baseline, single tasking, or simply awareness without judgment. Flexibility is key to long-term adherence.
So, adapt the intensity of your focus practice. Don't abandon it.
Precisely. Actively seek opportunities to challenge yourselves. Remember progressive challenges from episode 10? That's vital. Once a strategy is comfortable, gently push boundaries. Gradually increase deep work sessions or tackle more complex tasks with higher focus. Be aware of external feedback. Are colleagues noticing a change? Are you feeling less overwhelmed? These cues are motivators and highlight areas for improvement. Accountability partners can provide an extra push.
If a morning meditation feels less impactful after months, what should we do?
Vary your practice. Try a different technique, guided meditation, or time of day. The same applies to other habits. If reading strategies feel stale, explore new note-taking methods or different materials. Keep the practice fresh and engaging. Ultimately, sustaining focus long-term is about a mindset of continuous learning and adaptation. Setbacks are part of the journey. By consistently practicing single tasking, building habits, reviewing strategies, managing your environment, staying connected to your why, practicing self-compassion, and embracing progressive challenges, you can make your focus gains last.
So, for long-term focus maintenance, prioritize consistency in single tasking, solidify strategies into habits, review and adapt, manage your environment, Stay motivated by your purpose and celebrate wins. Be resilient and continuously seek growth through challenges.
A fantastic summary. Weave these practices into life, so focused attention becomes natural.
This has been incredibly helpful. It feels less like a sprint and more like a marathon we're trained to run.
Exactly. In our next episode, we'll bring everything together, taking a holistic view of reclaiming your attention and looking forward. Next episode, Reclaiming Your Attention, a holistic approach and future forward. Welcome back to the Attention Span Fix. We introduced the silent epidemic of distraction.
We certainly have, Alex.
This is episode 14, our concluding episode, and we're going to wrap up our entire series by looking at a holistic approach to reclaiming our attention and moving forward.
Over the past episodes, we've dismantled common myths, like the illusion of multitasking. Remember how we learned that trying to do too many things at once actually makes us less efficient and more prone to errors?
That stuck with me. We've talked about how our brains are wired for single tasks and how deliberately choosing to focus on one thing, single tasking, is the foundational skill for building better focus.
Precisely. And then we tackled something many of us find uncomfortable: boredom. We learned that avoiding discomfort, always reaching for stimulation, actually trains our brains to be easily distracted. By leaning into that discomfort, we can actually strengthen our focus.
And from there, we moved into actionable techniques. We introduced mindfulness and meditation, cultivating calm. It's about training our minds to observe our thoughts without getting swept away by them, a crucial skill for managing internal distractions.
That's right. We also dedicated an episode to the art of deep reading. We explored strategies to move beyond superficial scanning and truly engage with text, absorbing information more effectively. Because sustained reading is a fantastic workout for your attention muscle.
And let's not forget where we discussed designing your sanctuary, creating an environment, both physical and digital, that supports focus by minimizing external distractions. It's about conscious choices in our surroundings, isn't it?
Absolutely. Then came the deep dive into actual work sessions. We showed us how to structure our time for maximum concentration, making significant progress on our most important tasks. We learned to block out distractions and enter that flow state.
And we talked about pushing our limits safely, gradually increasing our focus duration, training our attention muscle incrementally, much like you would train a physical muscle. It's about consistent, manageable effort.
Then we face the internal battle. Thoughts, worries, emotions, these are often the biggest hurdles. We learn techniques to acknowledge them, process them, and return our attention to the task at hand without judgment.
We reminded us that our physical health is inextricably linked to our mental prowess. The role of sleep and overall well-being in maintaining sharp focus is undeniable. A tired or unwell brain struggles to concentrate.
And most recently, we talked about building habits and the ongoing maintenance required. Focus isn't a destination, it's a continuous practice. It's about integration into our daily lives.
So, bringing it all together, Alex, this concluding episode is about a truly holistic approach. It's not just about techniques or environment, but about nurturing our attention as an integral part of our overall well-being and our approach to life.
Think of your attention like a garden. The previous episodes were about preparing the soil, planting seeds, weeding, and watering. This final episode is about understanding the climate, the ongoing care, and how to ensure a bountiful harvest year after year. It's about resilience.
So, for our listeners who have been with us throughout this series, what's the overarching message of empowerment and a future forward?
The message is this: reclaiming your attention is not only possible, but it is essential for a fulfilling and productive life in a modern world. You have the power to train your brain, to manage distractions, and to cultivate the deep thinking that fuels creativity, problem solving, and genuine connection.
It's about choosing intentionality over reactivity.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that your attention is your most valuable asset. Where you direct it is where your life will go. By applying the principles we've discussed, understanding your brain, practicing single tasking, managing your environment, embracing mindfulness, and prioritizing your well-being, you are building a robust, adaptable, and highly focused you.
So, for listeners starting the journey, or those looking to reinforce what they've learned, this is a call to action. Don't see this as the end of our conversation, but the beginning of your ongoing practice.
Absolutely. Continue to challenge yourself with deep work. Continue to practice mindfulness daily. Continue to curate your environment. And most importantly, be patient and kind to yourself. Building focus is a marathon, not a sprint. You now have the tools, the understanding, and the roadmap.
It's about weaving these practices into the fabric of your daily life, making them second nature. From understanding the impulse to switch tasks, to the satisfaction of completing a focused work session, to the peace that comes from mindful presence.
And as we look to the future, our ability to focus will only become more critical. In a world clamoring for our attention, the capacity for deep thought and sustained concentration will be your superpower. It differentiates us. It allows for innovation and deeper understanding.
So, the future is bright for those willing to invest in their attention. It's about personal growth, professional success, and a richer, more engaged experience of life.
This has been an incredible journey for me, sharing these insights with you and our listeners. The Attention Span Fix has been about empowering you to take back control. And you have. By listening, by learning, and by practicing, you're already on that path.
It truly has been a privilege to explore these vital topics. We've covered the silent epidemic, the brain's engine, the myth of multitasking, the power of single tasking, the boredom barrier, mindfulness, deep reading, environmental design, deep work, progressive challenges, internal distractions, the role of sleep, and long-term maintenance. It's all connected.
And now, as we conclude this series, remember that every episode has built upon the last, offering a comprehensive toolkit. This isn't about perfection, but progress, continuous improvement, and building a life where deep focus is your natural state.
It's about reclaiming not just your productivity, but your peace of mind and your ability to truly engage with the world around you.
Thank you for joining us on the Attention Span Fix. It's been an honor.
Thanks for listening to the series.